Good evening, everyone. I am Brad Chester, the youngest man of 40K, and I am joined by two cows plus these guys.
I'm Brian Horton.
And I'm Sean Dice with Rice, as Brad likes to say.
I do indeed. We are going to talk about the weekend, and then we're going to talk about the California Cup predictions and lists, and we're going to take a look at lists. I am so organized, plus I'm almost positive that everything's going to work out perfectly technologically. I'm a genius when it comes to technology. I don't know if you guys know that.
Oh, I know. I know that for a fact.
Technological mastermind. But I'm ready to rock and roll. And I'm also going to this tournament, so I'm excited about that too. I also, as usual, planned perfectly. I'm randomly talking to my mom this morning, and she goes, "Hey, do you need a ride to the airport?" I'm like, "When? Aren't you leaving this week?" I go, "Oh, shit. Yeah, I should probably go to the airport." Genius.
Wow, with the $10 super chat.
Beer money for the Metacrew members who need to buy one at the Lions game tonight. Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about that. So, I got to get my chi together for this one. So, Ogden and I are both huge Raiders fans. And he just randomly tells me in the middle of the day, "Oh, hey man, I'm not going to be on the stream tonight." I'm like, "Why?" "Oh, I'm going to the game." And I'm like, no, he just got random extra tickets. And you were like, "You know who else would probably really like to go see his favorite team play?" Screw that, dude. Sit at home and run the stream, you bum. I was like, what the shit? Oh, good times. Exactly, Lyle. Angry Brad activated. And I'm going to say it because KR messaged me the other day. I don't know when it was. The time is meaningless to me. But please, I'm going to say it twice today. Please like and subscribe. It helps the metrics out a ton. And apparently I never say that in the Monday night stream. And I do a terrible job about it, which I was scolded by KR. He goes, "I liked and subscribed to it. And I told people to in chat because, quote, you're an idiot." So, good times. We won it before I was 15, damn it. Actually, how old was I? 83? Whatever. It's been a while. We've had some tough times, guys. I don't
know. They were in Oakland, then in Los Angeles, then in Oakland, Los Angeles, Oakland.
Now Vegas.
Nevada now? I don't know. I've lost track.
The stadium's sick, though. That is true. I put that up. I do like that everyone, so I may or may not have posted it. I hardly ever put anything on Facebook because, I'm terrible about social media, even though it's exactly what I should be doing because it's what I do for a living. But I posted up. Is it weird people talk that it takes me about 2 to 3 days to respond to any message sent, but I get super mad if somebody doesn't respond to me instantaneously if I send them something? I'm like, that's normal, right?
That is 100% in your wheelhouse.
I thought that's just the only thing you knew.
I messaged you almost 2 minutes ago. I sent you a text 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Let's not get all caught up in what I'm doing. Oh, God. Lyle coming with a $5 of sadness super chat. What 40K faction in the Grim Dark equivalates to the Raiders? Well, is it the Raiders like in the 80s and 90s where we were the winningest franchise in all of sports, or the fact that we haven't had a winning record in the last 2 decades?
So we kind of got to go with the Orcs a little bit because of the pirate thing, right?
We're not talking about Saturday. Saturday doesn't count. So let's talk about the weekend, and then we're going to talk about our California Cup predictions. Yeah, that is true. Matt probably has it. Drakar are clearly the Raiders. Lots of spikes, love speed, and kind of suck right now. You're not wrong.
In a dark, dark place.
Yeah, it's a dark, dark place. In the grim dark of the Raiders' future, there is only suck.
So what, Brad, what what list did you want to talk about first in the California Cup that's happening this weekend?
Well, you want to do the roundup first? I was going to do the weekend roundup. We had a slow roundup.
Oh, so Meta Monday first. All right.
Yeah, let's do Meta
let's
Monday
round it
first, because there's a good chance we never get back to that if we don't start with it. Because the weekend saw some of the same olds happening, and you know what? One of those same olds, Sisters of Battle winning at 55% rate. Leagues of Votan 65%. Eldar, yeah, whatever. They're still winning at 63% win tournaments, but it's not as exciting as saying Sisters are winning at 55% clip. Bring them up to 50% since the data slate. Mm-hmm. And then we got CSM literally turning on the steam. They had 5 X and O's, and they had 54% over the weekend, 55% since the data slate. And they're only behind Eldar and only behind by 3 events. They have 16 event wins now to Eldar's 19.
Yeah, that's going to be the next problem we're probably looking at. Night Spinners excluded. I think CSM are just way too points efficient in what they can take out.
Crazy. You'll see that we were Lyle with the $5 super chat. He goes, I want to hear Brad hype about the Champions Cup. Add that to the docket tonight. I'll hype them up a little bit. I'll Champions Cup it up. I did that one of the other days. Again, they all come together. So we'll definitely chat about that, because 8-man team events, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a pretty big homer for that. But yes, it is a big deal with CSM right now. They have some crazy efficient shooting. Their hand-to-hand still very good. The God damn it. The chosen rhinos are legit, giving you a little bit of juice with cheap characters jumped inside of them. And man, you're basically going to see it. We're going to see a couple of the lists at the California Cup. You just see a Nurgle Forge Fiend, an Undivided Forge Fiend, a Nurgle Obliterator, an Undivided Obliterator. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that you can just go, no, you're not allowed to shoot me, and we put out a giant volume of crazily efficient full reroll fire.
Oh yeah, it's straight up 9th edition. If you were like, oh man, how do I play 9th edition and 10th edition? You play CSM for shooting, and whenever custodes get fixed, you just play them for melee. Like, it just feels like whatever they shoot at, it just goes away. And outside of some broken interactions and things, it's really hard to interact with CSM favorably.
It's big. The CSM lists are very similar, Matt. And college football doesn't stink. I mean, it probably is pay to win, but it's also my favorite football. OH. But I do think that they're big on that. Let's do a couple of the ones that are making it up there, by the way. I think the CSM's Balkerstown, snuck in with another 54% win rate. Death Guard won two events since the data slates dropped. They got a 47% since the data slate dropped. But they've had a really wild ride of weekends. You know what I mean? They've had a couple 54s and 55s, and then a couple other that were much lower. But I think they have play, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know we talked about that when we were doing the meta-analysis after the data slate. Is Death Guard's a real army. Like, I've gotten to play against them a few times now, and it's always, yeah, I'm going to shoot you with these AP 0, but they're actually AP 1. And you're like, do I get cover? No, because I'm reducing your save. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll just lose my models. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, you've got some serious stuff. Us is all over the place, but putting up some wins. 3 wins since the data slate. 53% over the weekend. IG, Imperial Guard coming in again. That, by the way, that list terrifies me with all the indirect and stuff. They're like, hey, we had a decent shooting phase and we killed your army. You're like, can I do anything about it? Pray that I don't hit you as much?
Yeah, I think IG is definitely one of the most consistent. I think, consistent, like in the Goldilocks zone for what GW wants recently. So I don't think they're going to get really any big changes or anything. But as soon as people get knocked down a little bit, IG does have that ability to just take you off the board before you even get a chance to play the game.
Uh-oh. We got Lyle coming in. $2 super chat. Tau 35%. Tau buffs incoming. Tau did have a not great weekend. 49% since the data slate, but 35% over the weekend. They still have 6 event wins. I'm I think Tao's just difficult to play for a full long tournament, to be perfectly honest with you. Because if things don't go well, things can go real bad. But I think they can also just pick up your army and you kind of are left standing there going, what happened? You're like, I got shot by Tao. Which ones? Yes, all of them. They rolled a lot of dice and they kept rolling them.
I think Tao's big problem is as CSM gets better, like that's just a horrible matchup because the Forge Fiend outranges you and you can't possibly get within range of it. They just pay 1 CP and say you can't shoot them. But also, Chosen are perfect for killing crisis suits. And as soon as you just walk up and say it doesn't exist, Tau doesn't really have anything going on. And they can't exactly just play back and play this trading game that CSM can play because their units are, I don't know, checks notes, 500 points apiece. So really, I think just CSM's just got their number. And if most good players are switching to CSM, then
yeah, I think you're gonna have to play that at least once, maybe twice, if you're talking a longer 6 to 8 game, bigger tournament. So yeah, it's tough on that. And my boys Orcs, you know what happened? They flew too close to the sun. Their wax bigs melted off. GW put them on their meta watch, and then they immediately showed up with a 41% win rate over the weekend.
Now, Brad, did you plan an event this weekend?
This is true. I did not plan an event over the weekend.
Did Sean Naden plan an
Sean
event this
Naden
weekend?
didn't play an event over the weekend.
Oh, so therefore they came back down to earth.
What?
Yeah,
And
so,
that's where I stick to my guns of players matter.
Exactly. Orcs players, if you get nerfed, it is 2 people's fault.
Look,
Every
man,
weekend they just put up results that
I'm just saying,
had
between
no
the two
business
of us,
being.
we only put up like a 98% win ratio or some shit. So, my bad, Orc players, but it is fun. I still think they have play, but I think it's again one of those armies where if you make some mistakes, all of a sudden you're like, so we have bad saves still? Yes, you do. So,
yeah. Real loser, like maybe possibly the worst loser. Chaos Demons coming in with a 39% win rate. They're not great. I know that Kyle Treya is completely off them.
Yeah, that also though is also because we have almost no games played with them though, either. That's hard to even make that call because we had like what 4 or 5 players playing them.
5 players was 11 games, something like that.
It's just man,
or 11 wins, I should say.
Yeah, 28 games played. It's just tough on that because a lot of the other factions have just a huge amount more games played and more players on that. We did have a slow weekend though, total. So it was tough to get them. When you're looking at the numbers, we didn't have as many big tournaments as we have gotten used to for weekends past.
There's also the what the silent says. If there's people not playing your faction, probably because they tried it and went, I'm just going to do something else. And if that's the state of your faction going into anything, then that does not bode well for you. Because if they don't get any kind of help in the next January update, I think demons are just going to be this army that, are like this unicorn that pops out. And like, if you run into them at a tournament, you're like, oh, you're playing. And then you beat them by 30 points. And then you go, okay, yeah. And then you move on.
Or you forget what they do. And they just
There's that too.
And they put Bellicor right next to you with Shalaxi. And you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, wrong. Uh-oh. Roho Raggy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You can do that, can't you? Yeah. Did we talk about Votan? Votan is actually
the number 1 this week again.
Yeah, they're putting up results, man. 55%
since the data slate and 65% over the weekend. But also the bigger number for me was 5-0 or 1-0. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So or X and O's. You know what I mean? So that's big. Like I said, CSM is been like low key sneaking up to Eldar status, and Votan have just put the pedal to the metal and just been going, hey, we're gonna roll all of the dice. what are you gonna do about it? Probably die? Yes. Does a lot of that have to do with that change in judgment tokens and the ability to just go, I really need that dead?
Yes. Yeah, the fact that they got to play, their like secondary game improved by getting these extra biker units into their lists, and the fact that you just like pick 4 units you just want to absolutely just obliterate during the game.
You get the fact is that you get that early CP though, because you go, I judgment token these 3 real units, and all of a sudden a unit of Nurglings or scouts randomly receives a judgment token. You're like, you know why? Because I'm about to kill you on turn 1 and get that juicy CP jump bonus. And then you're just playing with, double or more CP than your opponent has. That's a big deal. You can just start going Oprahing out stratagems to everybody. You get a strat. You get a strat.
Yeah. It's double exploding 6s on my turn and armor contempt on your turn.
Exactly.
Every turn.
That seems pretty good. You know what I mean? So I like that quite a bit, though, because the Votann has some play. I like Votann also as an army right now, which I didn't think I was going to say for a long time, because they finally feel like they have enough stuff to be an army, and they've got enough damage to be threatening to anybody. You know what I mean? And you can now play a lot of speed. Todd played, Rhinoceros Rex played the 5 Sagittar build over the weekend, and I really like it. I like it more than I like the Chunky Boys. I just love having more. It's, of course, any list that has more trash, of course, is right up Brad's alley. So
Trash master.
I am the trash man, and I will stay the trash man, baby, forever and ever.
Also, like, Sagittar is really good gun. If you've been hit by a Sagittar at full force, it's like, holy cow!
Yeah,
how many points is that? And then they tell you, and you're like, oh no!
Yeah, not
and
enough.
He's got 6 of them.
Exactly, Brandon. They're the same height as Brad. That's why he likes them. You know what? I would like them more if they didn't have goddamn filthy psychers in my dwarven army. Boo to you, sir. Boo to you. That's also true. The Necromunda, the biker gangs are so much better for dwarves than the actual League of Votann models are. They are super cool.
Let's see. One thing that isn't really showing up, the Space Marine Codex. Not really. Some people are. Maybe it's because people are like hiding their tech. But we had Valencia, Spain. We had 1 Blood Angels, and then we had Dark Angels win, and that's pretty much it. And they were both using Gladius.
Weirdly enough, we didn't have that many total game. I mean, it was out there. It's hard because he really broke them down into Wolves and Templars and regular Marines, and then broke them down into everything that they do. So, do
you guys think a lot of this has to do with the hobby lag side of things and the fact that a lot of Marine units are just not available right now?
100%. I mean, I'm going to the California Cup and playing Marines, and I am getting stuff. I mean, that's what I do anyways, but I was over at Snigs, and I'm like, well, a lot of the San Diego guys, and props to them, by the way, love all the XPZ boys, get me a ton of different things for models, but I went over to Snigs, and we have a huge collection of Marines, so I was like, well, I should back this up. But we don't have the new things, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the things, hey, I have Dev Sense. Well, they have Grav on them. They have heavy bolters on them. I've got, this unit. What does it have on them? The wrong weapons, So it's a lot of 100%. I agree on the hobby lag thing, where you just have, well, I have these, but they're all modeled as something else, or it's not the proper ones for now. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the gladiator problem that we've had for a while, where it's just hard to get gladiators into any kind of list. But Manic brings up a good point that actually we're going to talk about tomorrow on Deal With It when we do Space Marines, which is, I think Ironstorm is the easiest to get a list for, to conceptually get it in your head. Okay, I'm going to take these units, I'm going to do this thing. And then you put it on the table and you go, whoa, this is not anywhere near as good as I thought it was going to be. And then you don't really want to try. You basically want to play around with it to see if you could fix it. And it just turns out people playing good old Gladius Task Force are the ones getting it done.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat on getting Marines, like KR saying, a couple others just talking about getting models, agree with you 100% on that, Brian. A lot of the lists are just I'm literally not able to get these models right now.
I would love to say that being a store is easy, allows me to get models, but I've been ordering 10 gladiators a week for, I don't know, we'll say at least 6 months. I haven't seen one in 6 months.
Yeah,
we saw the Lion finally come back into stock and Sagittars for a 2-week period. and now I can't get them again. It's one of those things of there's a supply chain issue right now, and it's hampering the scene, I think, a little bit.
What? GW not having product ready to go? That seems weird. I don't believe you on that.
Yeah, they have everything completely organized and ready to go on time directly to all stores, right? Right?
Yeah.
Is anybody old enough for that Price is Right?
When you order $20,000 worth of at cost product, and you get your packing slip and it's got $4,000 charged, and you go, well, that's not quite what I ordered.
Brad, you'll appreciate this one because I got to stop on the Price is Right thing there. Whenever my first girlfriend and I broke up, my older brother sent me that. That's it. That was his only response. Was no comments. Nothing.
Oh, I mean, just to get the stuff that I'm playing. I mean, Mr. Corrales, who's running the event, was like, I've got so much stuff going on. Do you even have an army for this weekend? He's like, I think I've got people with it for you. I'm like, I think so. He's like, for the love of baby Jeebus, will you put something in our chat to make sure someone's bringing you some models? I'm like, 50-50. But Hobby Lake's real, man. Like, people just can't get that stuff. It's crazy. You know what I mean? And some of my home store, the game room, just usually has stuff all the time, and he has not had some of those units the same as yourself, Brian, just for forever. And he orders just so much shit. I think we're gonna make. You know what? I'm gonna show you guys my list, and I've also showed other people my list, whether they wanted me to or not. I've got a new list too, which we're going to talk about tomorrow on Deal With It. Dice with Rice and I are going to be talking about Marines at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be square. I'm excited. I'm going to talk about my new list, my old list, some other lists, all kinds of.
So were you talking about Death Ninja Kung Fu Force?
Oh, I was just about to get to that. You'll also see that Brad has the best list names, and they're so descriptive. I can't even put it into words how good they are.
It is also in BCP as that, by the way. So you'll know when you get to my list, because it'll be the one titled Death Ninja Kung Fu Force. So exactly.
Right, so let's look at your list. It's Space Marine Dark Angels.
Well, let's start. We talked about the meta. You know what? I'm leaving the meta for now. Going to the California Cup. Let me grab my list. I mean, I don't know which list title I like more. Mine of Death Ninja Kung Fu Force, or Inna's, in that it just says Inna's just here so Ben doesn't win Wilson. So that did make me so happy. He's just like, well, screw you specifically. I'm going to put these in the baby window though, so I'll have to take a sneak peek at them. I've got this up. It's all going to work out, guys. I swear.
Because you're a master of technology.
Master of technology.
Unparalleled master.
I'm
here.
basically Brainiac, is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to make things work.
If Brainiac was a man, baby, you would be correct.
That's hurtful.
Before you go into it, we should say California Cup stacked event.
Oh, like crazily.
For 100 players, this is like 300 player super major territory of just everybody and their brothers here.
Oh, it's nuts. Oh, this needed to be so much easier for me. This is crazy talk. But here is Death Ninja Kung Fu Force.
So, Space Marine Dark Angels. Vanguard, Spearhead. Why'd you choose the Vanguard, Brad?
I chose the Vanguard because I wanted -1 to hit. I wanted the strats, and I wanted stab a knife into someone's face as my enhancement, the Master of Ambush old school, where I could take a unit and put them out, which is what I'm doing.
Blade driven deep.
Yeah, same thing. So, well, I mean, didn't I just say that? I did say
for all of Brad's opponents, he means blade driven deep. Don't just ignore whatever comes out of his mouth.
So, I really like the strats because they have a lot of great strats. The ability to pick a unit of infantry up, just put them in reserve, or to take 2 units of phobos or scouts in reserve, the +1 to hit and +1 to AP, and also just run away from someone when they charge you. That's huge. So it's a big deal in that. The Ancient and Terminator armor is going with the Deathwing Command Squad, giving me that nice, tasty 6 guys with OC 18. The Libya and Phobos armor is going with the unit of Infiltrators, so I can do shenanigans where people can't target me. I can sit on objective, and I play none of this. It's funny because you talk about the difference between Tom and I. He's like, I'm going to deploy 9 inches away from your army. I'm going to smash my guys into your head. I'm like, I'm going to hide behind a piece of player-placed terrain and never move for the whole game. So that's what I'm looking to do with those guys. You can do kind of shenanigans with the Libby also with that, because you can just run up, because no one can come in from reserve and do anything about it. You have to be 12 inches away, and you have to be within 12 to shoot at the unit. So it's a big deal. Then I took a Ballistus Dreadnought, which my plan is to be on stream tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, whatever night I go to that's Thursday. And I'm going to, I took an unpainted Ballistus, and I'm planning on going to the XBZ house that everybody's staying at, and I'm going to have a few glasses of wine, and I'm going to basically finger paint a model, and it's going to look amazing. So then I've got 2 Centurion Devastator squads. I really like them. I kept telling Rice that these guys are good, and he wouldn't listen to me. I was like, Sean, you should look at Cent Devs. They're actually really good. He was like, no, Brad, you're wrong. And I was like, man, and I kept telling him, and finally he agreed with me, and I put him in the list just to show him.
Definitely happened exactly like that, and you should quote him on that. Definitely work out well for you.
But I did like him a lot. I love the twin link of the last cannon. I was worried about hard targets. I was worried about chaos. And it's another infantry unit that I can pick up and put it around somewhere. So loved it. That command squad. I've still got the Devastator squad in here with the grav cannons. My newest list does not have these guys, but I still think they're valuable because there's so many vehicles in the meta right now. So just having a shit ton of shots that are winning people on 2 is a big deal. 2 Gladiator Lancers for some big boom and long range firepower because again, we're playing on player placed terrain. We always talk about the fact that your list does change quite a bit depending on what kind of terrain you're going to be playing at, what missions you're going to be playing on, and things of that nature. And then I've got triple Inceptors. I went 3-3-6, 2 units with assault bolters, 1 unit with plasma, and I ended up taking the big unit with plasma just because I wanted the ability to pick up other things with armor, contempt, and stuff. I just wanted a lot of AP. So if I pop the strat on these bad boys, and we are playing 2 pieces of terrain per that have the ability for me to get some plunging fire. The Infiltrator squad that goes with the Phobos, 2 units of scouts, and a partridge and a pear tree. And that is the whole list.
It's an interesting list. I like it.
It is just full of shenanigans. This is not something that you just grab and go with.
Nope.
You will not be happy if you just went, I'm just going to play this and see how it works out.
Yeah, that's one thing in Meta Monday where Vanguard is very low right now, and if you just try to tinker around with that army, you are going to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
But I like playing this quite a bit. It's got damage, it's got shenanigans, and it has enough trash where it makes me happy.
I absolutely agree with you on that one. So what's the next list you want to look at, Brad?
We're talking about Chaos. I've already got Innes's list up. So let's just talk about this.
Okay.
I think this is the same thing that he brought to the last 2 tournaments he was at. Triple Chaos Lord, going with triple Chosen. He just slams 1 into each. 10-man Cultist Squad to do 10-man Cultist Squad stuff and the Mark and Nurgle on them to be not targetable if he's just sitting. He's got double Warp Talons with Slanesh trying to get some shenanigans off. He's got an Obliterator Nurgle unit, so he can, again, any of these units of Nurgle can have the strap popped on them, so they can't be targeted unless you're within 12. 2 Forge Fiends, 1 Undivided for rerolls, 1 Nurgle for not targeting. Both of his Rhinos are both Nurgle, so he can try to defend those. And then we've got the Demon Pack Mojo, which is Celeste, Nurglings, and 5 random rubrics. It is random rubrics, by the way.
Well, they got the flamers, so that's this unit for 105 does actually do a good job of trading. If he needs to play that trading game, you can kind of see that throughout this whole list. This is where a lot of CSM players are going to end up. Is the Chaos Lord with his once per game +1 strength, AP, damage. Some of he just gets plus everything. And that little, what is that, 185? Yeah, 185 point out of a Rhino will kill just about anything. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to not waste one of those units, you can just throw out some rubrics onto point, and they can't exactly come contest.
It's also nice for just the
chaff unit.
With the flamers on them, it is delightful to just warp flame. Hey, I see you brought some warp spiders or something here.
Exactly.
Enjoy eating flame with your one wound models. So.
Mm-hmm. Kills trash, removes trash, which is a key in the game rate.
It doesn't mean that me saying that they're random doesn't mean that they're not awesome. they just are random.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic.
So
yeah, I think the one thing I would say about this list is I know that Celeste can get it done sometimes. I know what the trade-off is. The trade-off here is, do you take Abaddon or not? A lot of players are opting for not Abaddon. You can see Inez is not. He's getting Celeste. He's getting more Chosen. He's getting some Rubrics. He's getting Nurglings. He's getting a lot for it. But sometimes I found that these units don't quite get it done.
They are, but there's a lot of people that are clamoring for the same strat. So that is
exactly
because you want those rerolls to make things actually happen. So I want to look at Spat's list. The list that is titled Hellblasters No Transport.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love that space. Good job.
Spat. He's running did really well last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever week the SoCal was. Again, time is meaningless. He's running Dark Angels, but he's running the Unforgiven Task Force. I'm summoning Carmona. You can summon Carmona. A wild Carmona just shows up.
Yeah, Carmona did pretty good at that tournament.
Crushed. Did you see his points?
Pretty good.
I mean,
oh yeah, he murdered everyone. It was awesome.
So, Ancient and Terminator armor. He's got Azrael, who's going to go with those Hellblasters we were talking about. The Ancient and Terminator armor goes with that Deathwing Command Squad. He's bringing the big boy Command Squad, though, with the full mojo. Chain Fist, everything. So he's got the 10-man plus the Ancient. He's got the Lieutenant with Combat Weapon, and he put the Shroud of Heroes on him for the enhancement. He's, getting that extra CP with Azrael, which is one thing that I did miss, and I kind of wish Azrael... stop making people that lead chapters only be able to go with 4 guys they met in college in a a cappella singing group. So annoying. Like, why can't that dude just go, hey, who can he join? Everyone. He's the freaking leader of the chapter. He just tells you he's hanging out with you. You just accept it, move on with your life. All right, that's enough of that. All right. He's got a Dark Shroud for some shenanigans. He's got an Inceptor unit, just a 3-man with plasma. And he's got triple Repulsor Executioner, not playing around. 660 points of big boys. Now, I did play these.
A lot of beef.
It is, and the big thing is that they're T12, which is a big breaking point for a lot of armies because you're getting wounded on 4 or better for almost everything. It's a huge deal. There's also, weirdly enough, when I started looking into this, a lot of guns that are guns that are hand-to-hand that is strength 6. So you're still getting hit on 6, wounding on 6s for those too. So, and then we've got one single scout squad and the Calidus in a Calidus tree. Oh, I forgot to mention that I brought the Vect enhancement for my character too. So I do also have a once a game Vect.
There you go. Yeah, one scout squad and one Calidus actually will score all of the points you could ever imagine. As long as you are pushing 3 Repulsor Executioners straight at them, they are not going to have the ability to screen and still keep in the game.
Let's go with Dorian's question real quick. I know this should depend on terrain, but how should one prepare for an event like Clutch City in which the terrain changes depending on the table player plays 2KTC and GW? I actually like those quite a bit because I like making lists that are all comers. Is my favorite method. So what you have to do is make sure that you have answers, and you can't, because a lot of times when you're going to something that has one specific style of terrain, you can cheat a little bit. Like for instance, in this tournament, I know that I'm going player plays terrain, so I can cheat my focus just a little bit because I know that I can always create open lanes of fire. Now, if I can't guarantee that, I will have to bring a little bit more versatile of a list. I may go from Lancers to Reapers. I might put in things like my new list has Reapers and Eradicators in it because it's looking for GW terrain or just unknown terrain. And that's all I have to say about that.
There you go.
What are the lists you guys want to see, my friends? We got a lot of good players here.
Why don't we take a look at
Oh, I want Ben Jurek's list.
I will do
that's
that.
Because
Also,
Mr. Triple Night Spinner has moved on to something equally as silly.
well, let's look. Let's go to, whoops. Let's look at Ben. Team Xenospace. Mr. Ben Urich coming in with the Eldari Battle Force, the Autarch Wayleaper. What? I'm super surprised. Farseer. He's, Europeaned up his army and taken Fugan. That is like the European standard, by the way. They just slap Fugan in here. Spirit Seer. We've got the Incarn. We've got a Lynx in here, which actually does put out like a dumb amount of damage, by the way, especially to big things. Double Night Spinner because it's required by Eldar law that all Eldar players take 2 Night Spinners and you're not allowed to join the Federation. A unit of Shroud Runners, literally to tempt you into doing some shenanigans with the Incarn. Unit of Swooping Hawks because they're annoying and you can do Phantasm with them. A Viper, 1 unit of Warp Spiders, and a big old unit of Wraith Guard that the Spirit Seer goes in and the Farseers put buffs on to make them -1 to wound.
Yeah, so mostly standard here, but obviously going from triple Night Spinner to double Night Spinner, 1 Lynx.
So can we, the thing I want to cover in the Lynx is the Lynx Pulsar. Right. It's 48-inch range, 4 shots, 3+, strength 16. That's big. AP -3, D6 damage, assault.
Yeah, so you can auto advance it and still shoot it. That's a very big threat range of a unit, and if you're wondering what that 1 Viper is for, it's for you can actually remove cover with it.
Yep.
And also, if they destroy it, the Incarn just pops over and says hi.
Never a great thing. The Incarn just brings down all the property values all the time.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that he didn't put the Phoenix Gem on the Farseer. He put it on the Wayleaper.
Same. That was the first thing I looked at for this. I was like, he must have a plan. That Wayleaper must be getting more aggressive.
I was saying he's got to be getting more aggressive with that fusion gun. I mean, the Starglade in fights first will pick up some nonsense too.
Oh yeah.
So, but I am such a sissy about using my Wayleaper when I play around with it. That guy has never seen the light of day.
Especially since he's already got like the really fast skirmishing pieces already with the Shroud Runners and the Viper. But that is interesting. He's got to just play it straightforward. Or he could be worried about. No, I wouldn't even be worried about that because you don't have to. I was gonna say you could be worried about somebody dropping in and maybe some aggressors just showing up and taking out the Wayleaper, but I don't think you really care that much. That's a huge point deficit to do that. So
yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting. I'd have to talk to him and find out.
Yeah, because it does make the Farseer a little bit riskier now because people just go, I'd like them to not be -1 to wound. Cool, he's dead. Especially play other Eldar.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually why in my Eldar game with all the Whirlwinds, I chose not to shoot him because my first shooting phase would just be picking up a Phoenix Gem, and then we'd play on as normal.
Sorry, Corey, just talking shit to me. Brad won't be available to watch any streams of this. He'll be drunk in a basement of a VFW hall in Lima, Ohio, playing bingo at 11. I did call him, and I had a few drinks over the weekend, and he's like, how are you in the basement of a bar playing random board games? I don't understand how any of this happened. Don't worry about it. Just accept it and move on. Let's bring up Mr. Nadavati's list. And then I want to bring up Joel's list. Nick's playing CSM, but it is a different CSM. Because as you can see with, you're like, hey, it's standard. It's got those triple lords. He's got some of this. And then you're like, is that Cypher?
Absolutely.
So we've got Cypher. We've got a big old cultist mob, which I do love. We've got triple Rhino for all those bros. We've got a big unit of Chosen. And then 2 smalls. Got the the normal, one Undivided, one Nurgle Forge Fiend, and you've got the double Obliterators, or sorry, he's got triple Obliterators, and he brought one as Zinch.
Yep. So this unit, I can actually speak to this because I've been talking a lot with Mark Perry about it. The Zeech unit is oddly tough, where you can use it as this little trading piece if you need to, and they really have to commit to it, because just killing one Obliterator and putting down to one isn't good enough when you can pay a CP and put the whole Obliterator back. So it gives you this weird situation where you don't really want to trade with it, and then you have to overcommit, and then suddenly all these Obliterators and Forge Fiends show up and pick up your army. That combines with the very sneaky cultist mobs in some lists. Cultist mobs of Nurgle actually do a lot of damage.
They can. So, and it's super annoying to take out of them too.
Exactly. So you can drop them in a Rhino and just give them to your opponent and say, I'm going to kill your trash unit with my cultist mobs, and then you still have to deal with them. And if I'm left with even one cultist mob, I can auto pass that battle shock and sticky that objective in, I don't know, the center of the board where you don't want to go, where my army has 3 units of Obliterators and double Forge Fiend.
It's a big deal on that. He's got some shenanigans in here, and I do like this a lot more than the last list he ran with the Land Raider and stuff. This just has more bang. I do like that big chosen unit. That's actually terrifying, by the way. The 5-mans do work, and it's cool, but man, that 10-man is like the real deal on that. So that one getting out of the Rhino with the character is terrifying. So
100%. Triple Chosen's where it's at.
Let's look and see what Mr. Joel's running. I'll pull up, I'm going to pull up Logan's list also. He's coming in at the same time as me. We're getting picked up by Mr. Tony from the airport at the same time. The Destroyer of Balls.
Respect.
CSM. He's bringing the Dawn, double Dark Commune, double Cultist Blob, unit of Legionnaires, and we've got double Accursed Cultists, and then we've got double Forge Fiend, kind of standard on that. Hellbrute to get those double explosions in, double packs in, and then we've got a 4-man unit of Obliterator of Nurgle, and then double Nurglings and the Changeling to do Changeling stuff in the backfield. So this is really looking to muscle down with things that you're doing. He's looking to really take the board. The communes will be pushed into the Accursed Cultists, and they are super annoying when they're together.
Oh, yeah. Once per game, for those of you who don't know, once per game advance charge comes with, in addition, +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
Yep. and also, man, you throw some rerolls on these guys, they can just pick up a lot of your trash. I mean, they actually hit much harder than you think they're going to. So, and they're just annoying to get rid of. Plus, they also just come back. They regen in command phases, so it's a big deal on that.
Yeah, you can bring back one of the big ones or 3 of the little guys, and the big thing that kept Accursed Cultists down was Desolators. And Desolators are but a shadow of their former self.
I mean, they just don't. Let's be honest, they don't exist. I'm sorry, but
yeah. So Cursed Cultist definitely also a strong choice. I think Manny took them to the London GT and did his I'm going to play a bazillion models and just kind of walk at you strategy that he likes to do. Worked out really well.
You can also, you can put these guys in reserve. I like them coming off, like one of the squads coming off board sometimes. Because later in the game, it's also something that you might not have the tools to do anything about after that. So, a lot of that. Chaos, like you historically see a lot of players playing Knights in the SoCal area. You're not seeing as much as you normally would, but I think that a lot of the people that were doing Knight stuff are playing CSM right now, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So it's a big deal.
I don't remember seeing but like one Chaos Knight army in this field.
Yeah, it's just that the thing is that CSM just does what the Knights do better than the Knights do, because they have the access to, cultist and shenanigans. They just have more stuff, basically.
Oh yeah, we don't even have to sugarcoat it. I mean, one Undivided Forge Fiend will do more damage than a Knight every single day of the week.
Yeah, it just is.
For half the points. So there's no reason to take a Knight when you can bring a Forge Fiend.
Yeah, it's huge on that. So, let's see. Who was I saying we're going to show up? Junior's not coming, is he? I didn't think so.
Logan's army.
Logan, we could pick up Kyle too. Logan, what's...
Oh yeah, Kyle's over here with his Yunari.
Yep. Logan's bringing... I love it with Eldar plus Avatar plus Wraithguard. I love these names. Wayleaper, also with the Phoenix Gem. The Avatar, Farseer, Fugan, Spirit Seer. Only a single spinner. You know what? I no longer lost... the Eldar community has now said you are no longer part of us. Sorry. It's double Night Spinner and nothing, man. Shadow Spectre, Swooping Hawks, Triple Warwalkers, Double Spider, and even Wraithguard. I mean, all Eldar armies seem fairly legit. It's hard to make a bad Eldar army, to be honest.
Yeah, when the only thing we're critiquing is, oh no, you're gonna let your opponent play the game a little bit
That's
with only
ridiculous.
one Night Spinner? For shame. Yeah.
Who are you? Now, he is bringing the Incarn, which I was actually surprised at, though. He brought the Avatar instead of the Incarn. And I think the Incarn, I mean, the Avatar's no joke, but the Incarn just gives you so much shenanigans. They make people's deployments so just jacked. Because you're like, oh, I accidentally put a couple guys near my tanks. Bummer. I guess I'll just have the Incarn show up and see how that goes for me. So, what else do we have here, fellas? Tell me somebody. We were going to go Kyle's. Did I say Kyle? That's it.
Yeah, Kyle Perry's.
Kyle.
He's got an interesting list.
Tunari. He's
True
bringing...
Yunari.
I was saying, it's True Unari. He's got a Death Jester with Fate's Messengers, like him for those 6s. Skyrunner with the Phoenix Gem for that guide. Running Yvrain because, well, you have to, or it's on the list. Single Spinner, Double Hawks, Triple Warwalkers, Double Spiders, a unit of two units of Warriors, two units of Reaver Jet Bikes, a unit of Scourges because they hold Dark Lances, 4 Venoms. This is very going just full MSU shenanigans all over the board.
Yep, this is a very Kyle list. Kyle has an idea of what he wants to do with every single one of these different pieces, and he plays MSU very well.
This is so much stuff.
Also, just taking a look at it, I would wager Kyle's probably going to do pretty good in this tournament. And I did not see Wraithguard. I did not see the Avatar. I did not see...
He's got nothing big. He's literally spamming MSU. He's got so many units.
So keep this list in mind, everybody that's watching and watching later. This might be just where Eldar goes next after they nerf us again in January.
I love it. Mike's coming in with double spinner, double avatar is the most fun way to play Eldar. Hashtag just say no to Wraithguard.
Manic, that's how I feel too. That's how I feel.
He's just sad. Mine coming in with Eldar. Meow, meow.
Yeah, just yawn, move on. I gotcha.
So who else we want to see before you guys make some predictions? Because I'm not going to make my own predictions because, well, I'm in the tournament. So I always bet on Brad. Also,
let's see.
Also, I have to scroll my thing down because for some reason 1-800-Flowers is taking up a lot of room in my chat. Really like to not be there. Also, when I think 40K players, I think people that buy a lot of flowers. What?
I don't know. I kind of like the whose list is this? Because I want to look at a tiered list. Let's look at Tyler Bortle.
Good player.
Yeah. Unending Swarm.
He's bringing all the bros. Let's see what he's got to offer here. I love it. The new carpet. Death Leaper. Hive Tyrant. Neuro Tyrant Turbogon because, well, stuff. Triple Gargoyles. And he's bringing 10-10-20. Not messing around.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Lyle comes in calling you out. How does Sean keep saying nerf us, but he's already talking about the other armies with no counterplay he's got in the chamber? Ooh.
Oh, see, I'm one with everyone. So I am simultaneously nerfed and buffed at every opportunity.
I just self-nerf. I just kill myself. It's all good.
I identify what's broken and I go as far away from that as possible.
100%. This is so many models. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Termagants.
Termagants.
Whoa! So many. I don't know if my army has the guns to kill this. By the way, I'm gonna get paired.
Barb Gun, Pyrovore, Neurogaunts,
Two
two
neurolictors, two
Neurolictors,
single
two
venoms, or sorry,
Pyrovores,
two
and
single
that key
pyro.
unit of Venom Force.
-1 to hit, which is basically everyone's gonna be that because they're just gonna trail into this.
Yep.
Oh, this
real
is
good buff nowadays. -1 to hit is actually a real substantial debuff to a lot of armies.
and this is an army that does not need to do damage because there's just a lot of armies that can't do anything about this, especially on player place terrain where you can just hide two of the objectives almost every single game. I mean, this is going to be annoying because he puts 20 models on your objective. You're going to be sad faced on your scoring. So you're like, hey, is that another 20 gaunts just chilling there? Is that 24-inch possible move from those gargoyles standing in front of my army with a 20-man squad? That doesn't seem right. That seems unfair.
Yeah,
look,
this
kill them all. Yeah, they come back.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is one of those armies that obviously is a feast or famine. If your opponent has all the guns to deal with you, they're gonna deal with you. But most of the time, your opponent's not going to be able to deal with 100 Termagants bodies.
Yeah, it's 100 Termagants, 40 gargoyles, and a bunch of other shit. It's not like he doesn't have other things.
And then you got 22 Neurogons as well.
Yeah, he's got a giant unit of neurons also.
Oh, yeah.
And the two forward deploying neurolictors he's just getting in the way for 2 straight turns, and then you start the game after you're like, get off me. And you're like, oh, now we can start playing. So most people aren't familiar with this particular detachment. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this, Brian? What is the Unending Swarm do? And I think everybody knows what Invasion Fleet and Synaptic does, but I don't think that many people have been played against this yet.
So the Unending Swarm. Each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, after that unit is finished making its attacks, if one or more of those models was an endless multitude unit were destroyed, so if they destroy a model, you can move D6 inches. Pretty much, that's what it's called insurmountable odds. Basically, they can move shenanigan the entire time. Combine that with the fact that gargoyles have a built-in ability that does that, it is really, really good. They have stratagems for synaptic goading. When you make a surge move, you can reroll the D6 to surge further. Unending waves. One endless multitude of your army that was just destroyed for 2 CP, you can bring it back. Teaming masses in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after the enemy has selected targets. One endless multitude from your army is selected as the target of one or more of the attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time the target attacks your unit, subtract -1 from the to hit roll, which is really good. And then swarming masses in your shooting phase or fight phase. One endless multitude army from your unit that has not been selected to fight or shoot. Until the end of the phase, weapons equipped by models in this unit have sustained hits 1. If your unit contains 15 or more models, it does a critical hit on a 5+.
Actually a big deal because they have lethal hits on a lot of these.
Yep. On 5s, you can drop a bunch of saves on somebody that's trying to pick up your bricks.
100%. I do like both of these in the comments. Both Hootie and D-Flux got things. One, Hootie's like, strategy against this list, chess clock. D-Flux is like, this list needs a backiotomy. So...
And the enhancement, the Adrenalized Onslaught, each time the bearer's unit piles in or consolidates, it can move an additional 3 inches, which is on the Neuro Tyrant, which I assume is going to be onto those Neurogaunts. So that's going to be a large unit of, hey, look, you shot at them. They move.
Yep, and they're all up in you, too.
Move.
Yep. He's just trying to grab things and make things just really inconvenient for you, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything's about, I'm going to control the board. I'm going to control the objectives. You have to move me off them. I'm going to make it near impossible for you to deep strike shenanigans in. I'm going to cover the entire board spaced out very, very well, make it difficult for you to make decisions to where when you wipe a unit out, that is going to be your landing zone. And if you don't wipe out and control the area, I'm just going to move right back into it.
Yeah, Lyle points out, so he's just got to dodge Talon Guard. It's actually a little more than that. It's not that he doesn't have play into those armies. He absolutely does, and he's a good player. The problem is his list is very I'm doing this thing. Okay, if somebody can answer that one thing, then you're in trouble. And what do I mean by that? If I'm going to play against that list with anything, I'm going to deploy in the line and run straight at him. He's going to take his pound of flesh with his 1,000 little shots, whatever. But then I'm going to start actually tagging things and just picking up other stuff. Like, I'm going to completely disrespect all of his shooting. I'm going to disrespect the damage of his army, don't even care. Whenever he brings out something that could potentially deal damage, I'm going to focus everything on that. Yep. And he's banking on basically not running into a CSM player who knows that, or into a World Eaters player who just goes first and runs straight at him and picks up.
Hoodie makes a good point also. He's like, Brad's arc list will swallow this list up. Yes, I have enough attacks to just...
Correct, yes. That's also a good point. Anything that is very aggressive and realizes off the jump in deployment, I'm just going to run at you.
And then the one thing that people don't seem to understand, because I didn't get to the one strat that's actually kind of key for them, their preservation imperative. Oh, look, that's blast weapons. Yeah, we count as 5 models.
Yes, that is a huge deal on that. That's actually one of the things that I was worried about because of that. So I said running my list would be tough against this because I would really want blast. You know what I mean? For my blast account, as opposed to, well, not count.
Yeah. That's like, oh, you have a unit with blast. Yeah, that no, we count as 5 models.
Yeah, Matt goes, the list that works until it suddenly doesn't. But it really is. I mean, he's going to get some auto wins, to be honest with you. And it's not like, and it's not like he doesn't have play into other stuff. It's just he has tougher matches. He's going to have some auto wins, and he's going to have some rough matches, and then he's going to have some middle of the pack. So, but yeah, that's what happens when you bring a very skew list, though. You know. But
with player place terrain, that gives you a lot of ability with that list. You can set up your movement shenanigans right along.
It's also Eldar's worst nightmare if they don't bring a bunch of satisfactors. Like, they just can't kill that many Gons. You just can't kill them. You don't have enough guns.
I don't know if any of those Eldar lists have any literally enough of that. You're like, what are you going to shoot them with your 10 Wraith Guard? Like, cool.
Be a shame if my Turbogon just regrew those.
Yeah. You almost made me use my strat. And then
yeah. You almost made me play. Instead, I will just push models forward and go to the bathroom while you feast your eyes on all this stuff.
That's a big deal on that.
All right, so we're at that time for the predictions here. So,
Yepers. I put the cows back up. Tell us what you got, yo.
Sean, what are you predicting?
I'm predicting. Do we want to go straight winner, or do we want to go?
Go straight winner. We got the field up there. Let's pick your person. How about this? Pick your top 3. That way you're protected.
Top 3?
Yeah.
I like Brad, Spatho, and Nick.
Like it?
I like Brad, Innes, and Nick.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, because we went over Innes first. I guess.
Again, that's why I said I wasn't going to pick mine, because you guys, we've got.
I was going after Army specifically.
No, but I'm saying you've got some really strong lists and really strong players in here. I mean, there's a lot. $2 super chat from Lyle. Championship Cup, you lied, Brett. I definitely lied about that, and that is my bad. But I will bring it up soon again. I've already brought it up in 2 streams, but I will go over Champions Cup. I knew that this is the reason that I wanted to go over the weekend before we did this, because I knew that there was no chance that downhill rolling ball of Brad not paying attention and wanting to talk about a tournament I'm in would be something I wanted to do.
All right, so why don't you guys plug your stuff? Sean?
So I have my own YouTube channel. It's Dice with Rice 40K. We do Deal With It over there. That's where I grab the old man next to me or above me, wherever he is. And we talk about how to actually deal with the meta. Instead of just complaining about it or saying Eldar OP, we actually go through, how do you make a list? How do you put the list on the table and make it work? What do you consider when you do that? And basically it's just Brad and I giving you top level advice for free. There is no paywall. You just click over and watch the video. And we've already done several factions already. Oryx, Tau, Thousand Suns, man, we've done a ton. You can go over and we actually have on the Death or Glory channel here and on my channel, we have little playlists you can run through to watch them.
Give us some hobby store.
So I'm going to promote the art store, cny.com. Stop there for all your 40K needs. 15% off every day with a very generous customer rewards program for returning customers. So keep it a check out.
You know what I'm going to promote? Please like and subscribe. Give us a Patreon if you can. Keep us moving. Keep me making my technological masterpieces of content that I put out. And maybe Sean will eventually show me how to make my own thumbnails. It'll be fantastic. And until then, Queenswave.